She's coming on at 7:30
Okay.
from DC.
Oh, wow.
Bless her.
Yes.
So, but it's 7:30. So what are we going to do for half an hour?
State of the city.
Sorry?
The state of the city.
Oh, right.
Submitting it for an Academy Award short. So Debbie, you should be a little more,
Right. Well, I'm ready if you guys are ready.
1 second. It's a little Facebook snafu. There we go. All right, we are ready.
Okay. Welcome to the regular Half Moon Bay City Council meeting of December 20th, 2022. This meeting will be held entirely by teleconference. All council members and staff will only participate via the Zoom platform. The meeting is being conducted pursuant to recent amendments to the rules required under the Brown Act, allowing teleconferencing during a proclaimed state of emergency when local officials have recommended social distancing. This legislation is AB 361. The meeting will be conducted via Zoom webinar, and live Spanish interpretation will be available within the Zoom platform. Members of the public are welcome to log into the webinar as attendees. During any public comment portions, attendees may use the raise your hand feature and will be called upon and unmuted when it is your turn to speak. The meeting will also be streamed on Channel 27, on Pacific Coast TV, and on Facebook at facebook.com/City of Half Moon Bay, all one word. You can join by phone at 669-900-9128 using webinar ID 955-3561-4263. If joining by phone, use *9 to raise your hand and *6 to mute and unmute. Victor, could you explain how to use the Spanish interpretation feature?
Gladly. Good evening, Madam Mayor and all honorable council members, Mr. Chittister, Ms. Enberg, city staff, and all members of the public. This is Victor Hernandez, Spanish interpreter. Les queremos dejar saber que esta reunión se celebrará completamente por teleconferencia. Todos los miembros del consejo y el personal participarán únicamente a través de la plataforma Zoom, utilizando el proceso descrito a continuación. La reunión se está llevando a cabo de conformidad con las recientes enmiendas que se han hecho a las normas de teleconferencia requeridas por la ley Ralph M. Brown, que permite la teleconferencia durante un estado de emergencia proclamado cuando los funcionarios locales han recomendado el distanciamiento social, es decir, el AB 361. El propósito de AB 361 es proporcionar el entorno más seguro para el público, los funcionarios electos y el personal, al mismo tiempo que se permite la operación continua del gobierno y la participación pública durante la pandemia de COVID-19. También les queremos ofrecer lo que es traducción en el español, y para poder acceder al canal de audio, usted tendrá que hacer clic en un botón de interpretación que es un icono de un mundo o un globo que aparecerá al fondo de su pantalla en esta barra de tareas de Zoom. Después de eso aparecerá un menú y entonces usted podrá seleccionar el idioma. Si usted quiere alzar su mano durante comentarios públicos, pulse la estrella 9 si está utilizando un teléfono y la estrella 6 para desilenciar. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you.
Gracias, Victor. Translation services will also be provided this evening by Nicholas Leskiewicz. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Yes, Councilmember Jimenez.
Here.
Councilmember Rohrbach.
Here.
Councilmember Brownstone.
Here.
Vice Mayor Penrose.
Here.
Mayor Reddick.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. So the first order of business is public forum.
Our first speaker is John Olam.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. Tonight will probably be the last time any of you hear about the death of Sandra Harmon. Sandra was fatally shot 3 times in her back while her hands and shotgun were held above her head in a manner consistent with surrender. As some of you know, Supervisor Horsley responded to an email I sent the City Council, the press, and others. The email was meant to call out everybody who didn't have the courage to plainly state the facts of what happened to Sandra Harmon. But it seemed that after more than a year, finally, the Review was willing to print the truth. In a story written by August Howell, Mr. Howell paraphrased the judge. He wrote, "The judge noted that video evidence showed that Dominguez shot Harmon in the back while her hands were raised above her head, and that shot was fatal." Well, there were 3 of those fatal shots. As you know, or at least some of you do, Supervisor Horsley vehemently disagreed with Mr. Howell's characterization. He said that the statement was patently and undisputably false. Supervisor Horsley even went so far as to refer to the email I sent you all and myself as being delusional. And maybe I am delusional. Because I really thought it mattered that Sandra Harmon received 3 fatal shots in her back that were fired by police officers. I thought it mattered to the City Council, and I thought it mattered to the editorial board of the Review. But it doesn't seem that what I was thinking was right, that I was delusional. In the City Council, it seems that all that mattered is the City Council didn't have to pay a dime. And that's the last we're going to hear about it from the City Council. And as for the Review, well, the Review threw Mr. Howell under the bus. They deleted from the story the parts that Supervisor Horsley objected to. The reason given was that it was no longer germane. Think about that. The manner in which Sandra Harmon died is no longer germane. For the record, this is what the judge wrote. The statements in the complaint, which must be taken true at this stage, plausibly allege that Deputy Dominguez acted with a purpose to harm, unrelated to a legitimate law enforcement objective, by shooting Harmon in the back while she was holding the shotgun over her head. And as the counsel for the plaintiffs clarified at the hearings, that shot is the one alleged to have been the primary cause of her death. On its face, that use of force is so grossly and unreasonably excessive that it alone could be evidence subjective purpose to harm. The key here was on its face. Now, on its face has a specific meaning in the context of legal arguments. And I'm hoping that one of you will show that the way that Sandra Harmon died is germane and that it mattered. And that you'll ask the lawyer to explain to you what the phrase on its face means in the context of what I just read to you, what the judge wrote. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. I have no other hands raised, Mayor.
Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the 2022 State of the City Address.
Yes, thank you. We are thrilled to show everyone this video tonight. It is a small snapshot of all that we accomplished this year, which was quite a lot. We want to thank all of our partners, staff, council, and the community for another year of collaboration to make Half Moon Bay as inclusive, compassionate, and strong as it can be. The video tonight is in English with English caption. It will be translated via our interpreters tonight. We are also working on a Spanish caption version that will be available on our website, hopefully by the end of this week, at hmbcity.com/state of the city. And lastly, I want to give major kudos to Colleen Latier, who organized, produced, directed, put this entire State of the City video together. It's a very huge undertaking. She started the process back in October, and I'm very proud of how it came out and hope that you were all as pleased as well. So with that, I will turn it over to Colleen, who will share the video.
Hello, I'm Debbie Ruddock, Mayor of Half Moon Bay. On behalf of my colleagues on the City Council, I welcome you to Half Moon Bay's annual State of the City address. This year's theme is rebuilding, reconnecting, and reimagining. It's very positive that we've all learned to live with COVID and get on with our regular lives and activities, but we must continue to address the pandemic's after effects in our economy, our interactions with each other and in groups, and how the pandemic has affected the lives and livelihoods of our community members and impacted the city's own operations. To do that, we've been working strategically and with a fresh perspective, keeping in mind the difficult lessons we learned during the pandemic. Our efforts are aimed at rebuilding and enhancing our local economy, reconnecting and enriching the relationships and communications with each other, between the city and the community, and with all our partners and stakeholders, getting back in touch with what makes our community great, and reimagining how we can best carry out the city's mission in this new normal. To maintain and improve our operations and the services we provide to you. We've updated our priorities through the council listening sessions and priority setting workshop. They more directly reflect where we are as a post-pandemic community and where we want and need to go. The 5 city council priorities for fiscal year 2022-23 are affordable housing, public health, safety and emergency preparation, community climate resilience and sustainability, economic recovery and development, and transportation, circulation, and mobility. Each of these priorities brings key benefits to our community and helps strengthen our shared foundation, which we continue to build on every day toward a great future. I'd like to first point to a few notable accomplishments in the priority area of affordable housing. In a significant step, we've established a new housing coordinator position to support this priority and give it the focus that it needs. We're making progress on the affordable housing site at 555 Kelly Avenue, which is envisioned to bring new affordable housing opportunities to our underserved populations. And there's been more progress on our accessory dwelling unit ordinance, which is intended to increase housing stock and help families provide housing for their multi-generational households. The ordinance was certified by the Coastal Commission earlier this year and finalized and adopted by the City Council in May, so it's officially in place. We received $750,000 to establish a program to help those who may be living in cars or other vehicles to transition into jobs and permanent housing. This partnership between the county, the city, and the nonprofit, we hope, will also offer other critical support services. Moving on to our public health, safety, and emergency preparation priority, this year we're especially proud to have made some important progress around addressing mental health. This issue was intensified during the pandemic, particularly among young people, and it's being called a mental health crisis. I've joined with 10 other mayors to start the San Mateo County Mayor's Mental Health Initiative. Its purpose is to promote awareness of mental health issues, work to increase countywide mental health resources, connect people to services, and let those who are suffering know that it's okay to ask for help for their mental health issues, just like it is for their physical health. In March, Half Moon Bay launched CARES, the Crisis Assistance Response and Evaluation Services Program. This provides a specially trained medical and mental health crisis team to respond to 911 calls involving people experiencing a mental health crisis, instead of an immediate armed law enforcement response that all too often ends with violence. And by the way, we were awarded $280,000 in total from San Mateo County Kaiser Hospital in the state of California to support this program. I'm very proud that earlier this year, Half Moon Bay was accepted into the World Health Organization and AARP Global Network of Age-Friendly Cities and Communities. Our city is invested in listening to the needs of our aging population, assessing and working toward more accessible and inclusive physical and social environment, and enabling service infrastructure. Another area of public health is our park and open spaces, which provide recreation, outdoor time, and a respite from the rigors of daily life, all of which are important for both physical and mental health. In that area, we worked this year on the initial construction phase of the Carter Park Improvement Project, the Smithfield Park Master Plan, phase 2 of the Frenchman's Creek Park and Upgrade Plan, and improvements to Ocean View Park. And we're in line to receive about $3 million to improve the East Side Parallel Trail. Our priority of community climate resilience and sustainability is an important responsibility, not just for the city and its leaders, but for everyone throughout the community. The increasing impacts of climate change make this a crucial priority right now, and it's essential to protecting the future of our families and the generations beyond. We've continued our efforts on the Climate Action and Adaptation Plan, or CAP, to help our community implement local actions to meet the challenges of a changing climate. The city produced the Miramontes Point Sea Level Rise Vulnerability and Fiscal Impact Assessment Study, which identifies the impacts of sea level rise in the southern coastal area of Half Moon Bay near the Ritz-Carlton and Ocean Colony. We finalized, adopted, and implemented our building electrification ordinance earlier this year. To help reduce our carbon footprint, this ordinance requires all new building construction to be electric only and phases out fuel gas and applications and distribution in existing buildings by 2045. The next priority I want to cover is economic recovery and development, and there's a lot to talk about. I already mentioned that the impacts of the pandemic are lingering, but we're definitely taking many positive steps toward not only full recovery, but an enhancement of our community's economy. Many events and activities that had to be done virtually, or not at all, during the pandemic are now back to an in-person status, and it's absolutely wonderful. It was such a great joy to see crowds of happy families at Make It Main Street, Summer's End Music Festival, the Art and Pumpkin Festival, the Veterans Eve event, Elections Night Out, and other activities. With people once again joining together in person as a community, it truly feels like we're finally moving beyond the pandemic. We're fully supporting the Coastside Recovery Initiative, which is the regional economic development effort coordinated with the Community-Based Recovery Task Force. Earlier this year, that group released its report, Building a More Equitable, Vibrant, and Resilient Coastside Economy. The report outlines 15 strategic recommendations focused on both immediate recovery needs and solutions for a more sustainable and resilient future. It's a collective blueprint for action and is undergoing implementation across the city and county government, business, nonprofits, and other community partners. 2 mixed-use projects are coming to downtown and are currently planned with commercial elements and a total of 11 residential units, bringing more people and activity downtown. The city developed a downtown sidewalk and parklet activities program for long-term support of outdoor uses downtown, like sidewalk cafes, parklets, and activity spaces, and including a grant program for improving pedestrian spaces. Our downtown has been beautified even further with a new mural on Cunha's Country Store, commemorating the Pumpkin Festival's 50th anniversary. It's really beautiful, and if you haven't seen it yet, I urge you to make a point of doing so. We've also been very busy seeking grant funding to help us with our economic recovery efforts. This year, we gained a $2.5 million grant from the county to establish a small business and job seeker center on the coast side, and a $500,000 grant from the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative to support farm workers and regenerative agricultural practices, plus digital access and resilience for the most vulnerable coastside residents. And finally, our transportation, circulation, and mobility priority. Given the proliferation of e-bikes, e-scooters, and other electric transport devices, we surveyed the community about their experience when these electric vehicles are used on certain city paths and trails. Staff is expected to bring proposed policy changes to the City Council next spring to address the desire for some kind of speed limit on the trails. We received a $200,000 grant from San Mateo County Transportation Agency for a coastside traffic demand management study. This will be a comprehensive look at transportation demand management measures and policies on the coast. Community outreach and engagement around this study will begin in early 2023. I want to mention just a few other things that have been accomplished, which also support the city and the community. We've redrawn the City Council election district boundaries through numerous public hearings to better reflect our community's demographics. We continue to strengthen our community outreach and communication efforts, including restarting our hard copy mailed quarterly newsletter. We conducted the City Council election and produced a balanced budget. And there's really so much more. So if you haven't already done so, be sure to browse HMBCC.com to get a feel for everything we do every day on behalf of you, our community. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for doing your part every day to help Half Moon Bay be the best place to live, work, and to play. And now we have a special add-on to our State of the City address to offer you a wider perspective on what's going on in Half Moon Bay. First, you'll hear from Chrislyn Geet from the Half Moon Bay Coastside Chamber of Commerce, and then from Annie Malley from the San Mateo County Library's Half Moon Bay branch. These are both valued partners of the City of Half Moon Bay, and I'm so pleased they are here to share with you their own notable accomplishments, which bring so much to the quality of life in Half Moon Bay. Thank you.
Hey there, Coastside. Thank you so much for giving us the time to tell you about what the Chamber has been up to this year and what's on the horizon. This year, we rebranded the Chamber as simply the Coastside Chamber to be more inclusive to the Coastside, and also it's less of a mouthful. With the new brand and mission, we formally created both the Resident Center and the Business Center to accompany our long-standing Visitor Center. Having these 3 resource centers allows us to hone in on specific services and better serve all the individuals in our community. We also opened up our services to all Coastside businesses regardless of membership status. We still heavily rely on memberships to fund our programming, but it just didn't fit our mission anymore to be exclusive to members only. We aim to support all, and you just can't do that while being exclusive. We have lots of ongoing projects like our directory booklet, and we are working to evolve our community events to create more opportunities for both nonprofits and businesses to generate new revenue. The more opportunities to fundraise throughout the Coastside, the better. And on our horizon is to bring on specialized staffing that can create and deploy multiple programs that help enrich the lives of residents searching for work, helping businesses searching for staff, as well as helping businesses overcome hurdles. We are so excited about the forthcoming Opportunity Center of the Coastside, funded by the county and facilitated by the City of Half Moon Bay's Coastside Recovery Initiative. The partnerships continue to grow and lead to even greater things. The Resident Resource Center will grow to become the go-to place for locals to find information to help them navigate coastside life. We are actively working on workforce training opportunities and a comprehensive new website that will host oodles of resources specifically geared towards locals. This new website will also be a major resource for businesses. It will bring many resources right to their phones and hopefully better serve them on their fast-paced, need-to-know things on the fly kind of a day. It will help generate more opportunities for businesses to be found by residents, thus bridging the gap between those two groups. In addition, we're also working on a new Shop Local campaign. We aim to bring a refreshing new look to the Always Needed initiative. Shopping locally has always been important, and the pandemic highlighted that even more, and it continues to be a key aspect to a thriving community. Whether you shop in a mom and pop boutique or even our local big box shops like Safeway, every dollar that you spend in the community supports the community. Also, in an effort to support small businesses, the Chamber has created a meeting space and a classroom in our office that is available for businesses to utilize. Both rooms are hybrid capable, and we hope this helps businesses save on expensive equipment and allows them to showcase their products and services and facilitate very important meetings. If you would like to use the room, just give us a call. And lastly, the Chamber runs the Visitor Center and manages the Half Moon Bay Hotel Business Improvement District, which is a very long way of saying tourist marketing. The weekends are easily full, so the mission of the BID is to bring tourist dollars into the coastside during the middle of the week to spread visitors out. To this end, we've had lots of cool accomplishments working with Visit California and other media outlets. There's always something new coming as travel trends change often, and the marketing group for Visit Half Moon Bay is on it. Overall, 2022 has been an insanely fast whirlwind of a year full of a million little wins and generating so many ideas to put into the hopper for us to tackle. We continue to work hard and look forward to serving the community in 2023. Thank you.
I am pleased to present the State of the Half Moon Bay Library for 2022. The Half Moon Bay Library is one of 13 community libraries managed by San Mateo County Libraries. Our mission is to strengthen our community by creating an inclusive sense of place and an environment for learning. The library system had over 2 million checkouts and 935,000 library visitors. Locally, the Half Moon Bay Library had 113,650 visitors and circulated almost 522,000 items. San Mateo County Libraries started 2022 with a new title. We were named a 5-star library for the very first time by Library Journal. We currently rank first in California and third nationally when compared to our peer libraries. This incredible honor acknowledges our success and commitment to supporting our patrons and the value our communities place on our library services. This year, we returned to a 7-day-a-week service and expanded evening hours at our libraries, allowing for greater access. We also provided vital support, including the distribution of free COVID-19 masks and test kits, and worked to address food insecurities in our communities. We served 10,800 meals locally, a portion of which was funded by the Friends of the Half Moon Bay Library. We partnered with Cabrillo Unified School District and La Honda Pescadero School District to provide Empower Cards to all students, simplifying student access to online resources. Our collections are always expanding. This year, the community gained access to valuable digital information and resources to help support those looking for employment, rent relief, mental health support, and so much more. Our award-winning Big Lift Inspiring Summer Camp served over 900 youth at 8 school sites, making significant progress in advancing literacy and academic performance in our most vulnerable communities. Local schools included Hatch Elementary and Pescadero Elementary. In response to families craving more in-person offerings, our staff developed a new STEAM curriculum. This program included fun, educational, hands-on activities for families to experience together. Power-Up afternoons are currently offered for 2 hours after school Monday through Friday. Through a new program with the State Library, we rolled out free California State Parks passes inside our hiking backpacks, and just this month we started offering county parks passes. We expanded on the abundance of technology available to our communities, from 3D printers, laser cutters, to virtual reality, sewing machines, and camera kits. The options are endless for our users to create, innovate, and learn. I would like to thank library staff for their tremendous work and creativity, Friends of the Half Moon Bay Library for their dedication and advocacy, City staff and Council for your ongoing support, in particular Councilmember Penrose and City Manager Matthew Chittister for their work on the Library JPA Governing Board and Operations Committee.
I like going to the library because I love cooking and there's a lot of cooking books.
I come into the library because it's a sense of peace and it's part of the community. It's just a place to relax and enjoy.
Me gusta mucho el contenido, todo lo que hay en este lugar, en los libros, tienen muy buenos libros para leer.
I like to come to the library to do art.
I like coming here for the meditation group as Monday through Fridays, and It helps me with my mental health.
I love the selection of books, especially my daughter's in a Spanish immersion program, so there's tons of Spanish-speaking books that we don't find at some of the other libraries or bookstores.
Because I like to play with the things inside the library. I like going to the library because I love cooking.
Very well done. Lots of good stuff happening in Half Moon Bay, right? Hard to dispute. So does anybody want to, talk about, the content of the State of the City? Council members, your observations of the past? No? Okay. So we are moving on to the consent calendar, the first consent calendar for this evening. There's only 2 items on there. Could I get a motion? Anyone? Unmute yourselves and make a little motion.
I can do that.
All right.
Let me look here and see. I'm moving on waiving the reading of resolutions and ordinances. Final results of the November 8, 2022 general municipal elections. Is that it that I'm moving on right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Jimenez,
Yes.
Councilmember Brownstone,
Yes.
Councilmember Rodak,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Penrose,
Yes.
Mayor Reddick.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, the next order of business is administration of the oath of office to newly elected council members. And I understand we have a very special guest here this evening, Congresswoman Jackie Spear. Hello, Jackie, I can see you. Welcome.
Hello, Mayor. It's wonderful to be with you, although I'm 3,000 miles away.
Oh, dear.
But you'll be happy to know that I'm here to make sure that we pass the omnibus, because within the omnibus is $2 million for Half Moon Bay for the Highway 1 Frenchman's Creek bike pedestrian improvements. So I'm going to make sure that that stays in the omnibus. So I won't be there in person, but I'm honored to be with you via Zoom.
We're happy you're there, and we're also happy you're simultaneously here. So thank you for your assistance on that wonderful appropriation. It looks very promising, even though it's not, through the gauntlet yet. So we're very grateful to you for all your efforts there. We're real champion. Thank you.
We'll be celebrating on Friday. We're going to have the omnibus passed by then.
Great. Good news. All right. So Jessica, can you outline the program here?
Yes, thank you. Congresswoman Spear, let's start with Councilmember Brownstone, and we'll swear him in first, and then we'll do Vice Mayor Penrose, followed by Mayor Reddick.
All right. Can you raise your right hand and repeat, I state your name.
Robert Brownstone.
Do swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California.
Do swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California.
That I take this obligation freely.
That I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, council member. You are reinstated.
Thank you, Congresswoman Spear. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Vice Mayor Penrose.
Raise your right hand and repeat, I state your name. You might need to unmute yourself, Deborah.
I, Deborah Penrose,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and that I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Congresswoman Spear.
My privilege.
And lastly, Mayor Reddick.
Mayor, raise your right hand and repeat. I
Deborah Ruddock,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duty on which I'm
faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Congresswoman Spear, and thank you, fellow council members and staff.
Thank you for your State of the City. I enjoyed watching it. You should all be very proud of what you've done for the city these many months during really challenging and taxing times. So I look forward to spending lots of time in the community. I love your city, and I look forward to seeing it flourish.
You are welcome, most welcome anytime.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you.
Thank you very much.
Safe journeys and happy holidays.
And to you as well.
All right. So now we have the remarks by the outgoing mayor. Wow. So I'm not going to take up a lot of time, but I do want to just address a couple of the points. I do want to thank our City Hall staff for all the hard work they've done during the last year, and actually the last 3 years, under quite adverse conditions. We've had to reorganize our workspace, juggle employees between home and the office. We've had to operate in a very stressful environment, stressful not just for us, but stressful for everyone including, families and our elders who have to deal with, isolation, children home from school. It's been tough for everybody, but, City Hall can't stop working. We can't close. We represent all of those folks. So staff has done an amazing job over the last years, and especially this last year. A lot has been accomplished, and we have a balanced budget. So yes, there may be clouds in the horizon, and we will, watch out for those. But I think we can take good cheer in all the, productive things that have happened at City Hall, and thank our staff for that, really major contribution. I just want to say that it's been an honor to head our fine city as mayor for, my time and my last time. There was a lot going on. There was a lot of tension in the early part of the year over redistricting, but it was fun, and it was an honor to lead you all. And I'll be happy to, pass the baton too and give somebody else a turn. I also am grateful for the confidence that District 4 voters, placed in me by re-electing me. Where I live is only a tiny sliver of my District 4. I had two communities, one community and one mobile home park, where I, had to really spend a lot of time, reaching out and listening. And, I'm just very grateful that people felt comfortable enough in this new environment to, to give me another shot at it. So thank you, voters of Half Moon Bay. And just a couple more things I'd like to say that are important to me, and I think important to all of you too. But we want to remember who we work for, right? We don't work for a company, private firm. We work for citizens who live in our community. We're public servants, and I don't think we should forget for a minute who it is that we work for. And because of that, I think we need to default to openness, and I think we have to avoid a bunker mentality toward the public. I've seen that, in years past where, the public is considered the enemy, our adversary. But, that's not true. And I think we've made great strides at, community unity, if you will, and reaching out and listening. And yes, there's tension in some areas around that, but I think we've made great strides. And I'd like to see us continue to default to, openness and transparency in our relations with each other, with our partners, and with the public. And lastly, I'd like us to show care, in everything we do. Showing care, even in small ways, is really appreciated by people, especially in, stressful times. When things look bleak and we're isolated, keeping, the streets and our public places swept and clean, and our public restrooms, the way we address others in our language. So not just our physical surroundings also, but for process. Important to show care for process. If we have laws and processes in place, we need to show care for those and make sure that we're, following the law, that we're being fair, that, we're, supporting those processes were put in the first place. Not all processes are good. We want to occasionally, review and make sure we get rid of bad or negative processes. But process is the thing that allows us to build, a common understanding of what we're all about. So that's all I would say about that. And I am looking forward to working with all of you for another 4 years. And that's all I have to say. So, except, I hope you all have wonderful holidays and come back in January, safe and healthy, and feel had, wonderful time with your families and your hobbies and relaxation and all that good stuff. Right now, we're going to move on to the selection of the mayor and vice mayor for 2023. So Jessica, could you just review the process briefly?
Yes, and I also want to mention that we did send Mayor Reddick her outgoing mayor's gavel today. So thank you again for your leadership this year. And so for the selection of mayor and vice mayor for next year, we'll start with mayor and someone can make a motion for that mayor. And if there are multiple motions, we'll take them in order that they're received. But once we have a motion with 3 affirmative votes, that person will be selected as mayor, and then we'll repeat that process for vice mayor. So at this point, we would be looking for a motion for mayor.
Well, typically, I think the mayor makes a nomination for the following mayor, and I'd like to nominate Vice Mayor Deborah Penrose for mayor.
Second.
Could we do this by affirmation? Everybody say aye. Is that possible? Or do we need a roll call?
I'd suggest a roll call since we are still on the Zoom format.
All right, sweet.
Councilmember Jimenez?
Yes.
Councilmember Rohrbeck?
Yes.
Councilmember Brownstone?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Penrose?
Yes.
Mayor Reddick?
Yes.
Congratulations, Deborah.
Thank you. I would like to move that we nominate Joaquin Jimenez as vice mayor.
Second.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Yep. Councilmember Jimenez?
Yes.
Councilmember Rohrbeck?
Yes.
Councilmember Brownstone?
Yes.
Councilmember Reddick?
Yes.
Mayor Penrose? Congratulations, Joaquin.
Okay. So now we have remarks by the incoming mayor. Take it away.
Yeah, I'm not going to take a lot of time. I want to thank you all for your vote. For one thing, that was wonderful. I am really looking forward to this year. I think that Councilmember Ruddock is going to be a hard act to follow, but I will bring my own style. I may do things a little differently. I am going to rely on Councilmember Ruddock to help me, just as I am going to rely on Councilmember Brownstone, Councilmember Rohrbeck, and Vice Mayor Joaquin Jimenez to help. It's not an easy job being mayor, and it requires everybody on council being behind you to make it worthwhile. I also want to thank staff for all the work that you've done this past year and let you know that I really look forward to this next year working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Penrose. Welcome. Okay, you can take it over now.
Okay. Let me get the agenda up.
And thank you, Jessica, for changing my my Zoom appellation there. Thanks.
I guess right now we're at the second consent calendar. May I have a motion, please?
Yes, I move that we waive readings of resolutions and ordinances and adopt the following consent calendar items. Items 2B, the 2023 residential dwelling unit allocation pursuant to Half Moon Bay Municipal Chapter 17. Item 2C, annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ended June 30th, 2022. Item 2D, re-ratification of resolution to continue holding public meetings remotely. Item 2E, 2023 calendar of city council meetings. Item 2F, AB 1600 report on development impact fees for fiscal year ended June 30th, 2022. Item 2G, warrants for the month of November 2022. Item 2H, consolidated coastal development permit, California broadband middle mile network project. Item 2I, ordinance adopting the 2022 editions of the California Building Standards Code, second reading. Item 2J, disposable foodware ordinance update, second reading. And item 2K, renewal of surf school license agreements.
Second.
Councilmember Brownstone,
Yes.
and Councilmember Rarback.
Is that me?
Rarback,
Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Reddick,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Jimenez,
Yes.
and Mayor Penrose.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I believe I failed to ask if there was any public comment or members of the public that wanted to speak to the consent calendar.
We only had the public forum tonight, and that's typically
And that would have
when we
been
accept.
included. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Matthew.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before we end tonight, I just wanted to, on behalf of our staff, thank Mayor Ruddick, former Mayor Ruddick, for her support and leadership this past year. It's been interesting to watch the elections this past year, and there's been a lot of challenges out there, both nationally and locally. And, there are reasons for that. But I know I can speak on behalf of our staff here at the city with gratitude for the consistency we have with our council members. You're all unique, you're all different. You don't see eye to eye on every single issue, but you treat each other with respect. You treat the community with respect, and you treat us with respect. And that's all you can ask for. That's good governance. And I'm just very, very grateful to be working for a city that is focused on the right things, serving the community and treating each other with respect. And I know it goes a long way for all of us in our commitment to the community and the work that we do. So thank you again, Mayor Ruddick, for your work and leadership this past year. And we're very excited to be working with Mayor Penrose and Vice Mayor Jimenez and all of you for the coming years. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew.
Well said, Matthew.
You're muted, Deborah.
At this point, I believe we are moving into closed session. So we will adjourn this part of the meeting and move into closed session.
We will stay on this link, and at 8 o'clock, we will have the open portion of closed session. So feel free to turn your cameras off and come back at 8 o'clock. We'll do the open portion, and then you will adjourn into the closed meeting portion.